What's up, guys? My name is TechnoTuner, and today I'm bringing to you my Crystron K9 deck. This deck is highly explosive, even though it did get hit by the ban list by putting inclusion to 1, but it does have the capabilities of recurring back that inclusion to further its combo play, and also being able to set up a mass board of negation and interaction, so it makes it even harder for your opponent to play while being able to give you a lot of cool monsters to utilize. There is a couple cards that I have added to the extra deck, such as Cleafort Genius, to really get this deck up and running and allow it further playability overall. So, at this point, let's go ahead and hop right on in. As this deck likes to go first, we're going to go ahead and do a going first hand twice, and then our final one is us going second to show what can really interact with our opponent. So, let's see what all we draw. So we draw a Droll Lockbird, an Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, a Chaotic Elements, a Crystron Tristros, and a case for K9. In this case, we're looking pretty good. We have 3 starters and 2 interruptions. The interruption being Droll Lockbird and Ash Blossom. So, for this case, we'll go ahead and start off Chaotic Elements, being able to get us a K966A Jokel. Since we're going to want to add that one, and then we'll activate the case for K9, getting us a K9 Izuna. Do note that you do not have to run the Izunas. You can utilize this and run other K9s, especially the new one that came out. Or if you're looking for something cheaper, you can utilize more hand traps. Or other cards such as Cyber Dragon and Machina Fortress. Just being able to get you extra either A, hand rip, summons, or materials on board to really play through things. But we're going to go ahead and activate the K966 Jokel effect to special summon it and Izuna. They both cannot be used for a light rank 5 or light Xyz monster while they're on board. So during this case, we're going to activate Izuna effect when it's special summoned to send a K9 card from deck to the graveyard. In this case, we're going to send the K9 Lupus. Next, we're going to activate K966A Jokel to add us a Lantern. So we're going to go ahead and grab us that Lantern and then being able to combo off even further. In this case, we want to be able to get us an extension because we're at 2 summons already. So we're going to go ahead and overlay. Before we do that, since we want to get a setup in case of Nibiru, we'll go ahead and special summon the Lantern targeting the Lupus. Lantern effect to grab, say, spell from deck. Or trap, in this case, if you're running the trap. I'm going to go ahead and grab us a K9X Forced Release. Then I'm going to overlay those two for our Ripper, so we have our Nibiru protection up. Then I'm going to attach the one Lupus to get us an Izuna for our opponent's turn so we can further interact. Next, we'll go ahead and overlay Jokel and Izuna to go into our Infinitrack Riverstormer. Since we've yet to normal summon, we can use Infinitrack Riverstormer's effect, detaching either Izuna or Jokel. We're going to just attach the Jokel, just in case they have called by or something funny during their turn. And basically get us a Scrap Recycler. We'll go ahead and get the Scrap Recycler. We'll then normal summon the Scrap Recycler, allowing us to send a Crystron Smyger. Next, we'll then take these two and go into our Cleafort Genius. Cleafort Genius has the fun effect of this link summon card is unaffected by spell and trap effects and the activate effects of other link monsters. Once per turn, you can target one face-up card on each player's field, except this card. Both those cards have their effects negated until the end of this turn. When 2 monsters are special summoned at the same time, to zones this card points to, you can add 1 level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck to your hand. It's perfectly fine because we're going to utilize the effect of Crystron Smyger to banish it to add us a Crystron Inclusion from our deck to our hand, which gets us an even funnier play, as we're going to go ahead and activate the Inclusion once we add it to grab us a Crystron Sulfefnir. Then we're going to special summon the Crystron Sulfefnir, pitching the Crystron Tristros. Sulfafnir effect to pop it, Self to summon the Sulfador from deck. When Sulfador is special summon or normal summon, you can send 2 Crystron monsters. We're going to send Thistern and Smyger to further our plays. We're going to then banish the Crystron Thistern to add a Crystron Sulfador from deck to our hand. And then we're going to special summon the Sulfador, further locking ourselves into machines by popping the inclusion. We cannot send 2 other ones, but we can activate the effect of inclusion in graveyard to banish it to add us a Tristeros, or summon a Tristeros from our graveyard. We'll next synchro with the Tristeros and the 1 Sulfador into Eskeltis. I'm going to put that there. There's a reason for that. Because I'm ignoring zones again. We're going to do the Eskeltis effect. We get to add the inclusion back from grave to or banishment or grave from our to our hand. Then we're going to activate Tristeros, banishing it to pop the Eskeltis to summon 2 from our deck, 2 Crystron monsters, and Eskeltis to summon 1 from our graveyard or banishment. In this case, we're going to go ahead and summon the Sulfafnir and a Sulfador off the Eskeltis, or off the Crystron Tristeros effect. And then we're going to summon the Tristeros off of Eskeltis. We're going to overlay, which will trigger Cleavefort Genius, since 2 were summoned to its arrows at the same time. We'll grab us the Therian King Regulus, since it's a level 5 or higher. We'll next overlay the Sulfafnir and the Sulfador, go into a Cyber Dragon Nova, into a Cyber Dragon Infinity. Then we'll synchro with these 2 and go into a FA Dawn Dragster. We'll then special summon the Therian King Regulus by equipping the Eskeltis. And then we have the Force Released. So, overall, what do we have? We have a huge board of negation. We have an Omni Negate, a Spell and Trap Negate, a Monster Negate that is in hand and or graveyard. Then we have Force Release, which lets us rank up one of our K9 monsters, or K9 Xyz monsters specifically, to go into our Werewolf and pop a card. Werewolf will let us banish 1 card from their hand until the end phase, face up. But we also have a Zuna, which allows us to get further plays onto the board, in which we can go into Hound as another card or another interruption to further work against our opponent, or we can go into Valen as a Book of Moon sort of tactic. So, overall, we have enough playability, along with the hand traps, to further break down our opponent's board and stop them from playing. Let's go ahead and take a look at our second going first hand. Alright, for our next going first hand, let's see what we draw. Jokul, Dronelock, Sulfador, Sulfafnir, and Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. In this case, we're going to go ahead and activate Jokul effect to special summon itself and Sulfador. We're next going to activate Sulfador effect when special summon to send 2 from our deck to the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and send us a Thistern and a Smyger. We're next going to activate Jokul effect to add us a K9 monster, which is going to be a Zuna. We'll then activate Smyger effect to banish it to add us a K9 inclusion or a K9 cluster. In this case, we're going to want to add the inclusion. And then Thistern effect will banish it to add a Crystron Crystron Tristeros. I was skipping way too far ahead in my own brain. And then what we can do here, activate the Crystron inclusion to grab us a Crystron Sulfador. We'll next overlay these 2 into our River Stormer. River Stormer effect to detach the Sulfidor, sending, detach the Sulfidor, and then adding a Regulus. Or in this case, we can either do Regulus or Scrap Recycler, depending on what play we want to do. Given that we've already sent most of the machines we want to the graveyard, we're going to grab the Regulus. So, from here, what do? We will go ahead and discard the Tristros to summon the Sulfefnir. Then activate Sulfidor effect to special summon itself, popping the inclusion, locking us into machines. And then we'll overlay these two. Since we're already past our 5, this is where we're in nib target. Just do note that if we get into further plays, you can do other things. But right now we're going to go into Infinity, and then we're going to activate Inclusion to banish it to summon Tristros. In defense position, we'll then special summon Regulus, equipping the Sulfidor. So right now we have 1 negate, a Synchro Summon into a Skeltis if we would like to get back our further play, or we can go to Dawn Dragster as a spell and trap negate during our opponent's turn. We also have Azuna to give us further interaction because during our opponent's turn we can K9 Azuna, go into Lupus, Lupus summon itself and all that to do further interaction and capabilities. But that's basically what I have for you guys on the second going first hand. We still set up a decent amount of negation and further interaction because we have the Droll and the Ghost Ogre. So let's go ahead and see what a going second hand looks like and how we can further build up this board and make it even more powerful. However, there's one thing I will note right offhand. If your opponent has tried to activate an effect to either A, negate the Therion, the Cyber Dragon, or the Tristeros, you have the capability of utilizing Tristeros to Synchro Summon, using a monster from the deck to go into a Skeltis and further play. So what we're going to do is say that that has happened, so I can show you how this can further interact. So we'll go ahead and activate Tristeros effect since a monster effect has activated. To summon Sulfefnir, we'll Synchro immediately into a level 7, which will be our Skeltis. Skeltis effect, grab us an inclusion back to hand, and then we'll special summon the Azuna effect, because we are machine locked for the extra deck. So Azuna to send the Lupus. However, there are still funnier things that we can utilize here, as we can do a couple of plays by taking River Stormer, if we would like. Along with our Therian King Regulus. Well, no, because we would have to use the Skeltis. Yeah. So basically right now you're kind of stuck at this point of here. You do have the capability of further continuing if you wanted to, but there's not much else you can do, as this hand right here is pretty well set up because you're getting attack and defense decrease from that. You have the play to go into Ripper during your opponent's turn off of this. You also have 1-2 points of negation, which can further help you break things down. So overall, let's go ahead and go right into our third and final hand of us going second. Of us going second. All right, let's go ahead and see what our final test hand will give us. So we end up with Crystron Cluster, a case for K9, a K9 66A Jokel, a Crystron Smiger, and another case for K9. So that is what we would have to go through. And then we draw Tristros for our turn. We're going to go ahead and first activate a case for Canine, allowing us to add a Canine monster from our deck to our hand. In this case, we're going to go ahead and add the Azuna, in which we're going to next use Jokel effect to special summon it and Azuna. Azuna, when normal or special summon, we can send. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and send the Lupus, if I can find him. And then we'll activate Jokel effect to get us the Lantern, which was a little bit further down, if I believe. Yep. So we'll go ahead and grab Lantern. We'll next overlay these two over here to make our Ripper. And then we'll next activate Lantern effect targeting Lupus to overlay these two into our Infinitrack Riverstormer. We'll then utilize Riverstormer effect attaching the Lupus to get us another Earth Machine monster from our deck to our hand. In this case, we're going to want to go ahead and grab us the Therian King Regulus. We'll next go ahead and activate Ripper effect to detach to get us the other spell, which would be the Canine Forced X released. If you've already done this off of the Lantern effect, though, you can go ahead and grab another Azuna for next turn. It's perfectly fine nonetheless. So what are we going to do from here, though? In this case, we'll go ahead and normal summon the Smiger, link it off into our Clockwork Knight. Just since we have a non-link machine monster with 1,000 attack or less. And then we'll go ahead and banish Smiger to get us a Crystron Inclusion. We'll go ahead and activate the Crystron Inclusion to allow us to add a Sulfidor. Since we are close enough to being machine locked, if not already, we'll go ahead and activate. We'll go ahead and link these two away, actually. And go into our Cleafort Genius. Next, we'll go ahead and special summon the Sulfidor by popping the Inclusion. Sulfidor effect will allow us to send two, in which we're locked in machines now. We'll go ahead and send the Sulfefnir and a Thistern. So we'll send the Sulfefnir and a Thistern. And we can utilize other effects if we would like to, but we're going to go ahead and use the Thistern effect to add us a Sulfefnir. We'll next special summon the Sulfefnir from the graveyard, sending the Tristros. And the card we can pop if we need to is the Sulfefnir. To allow us to special summon one Crystron monster from our deck and defense position, we're going to go ahead and summon another Sulfidor. We'll take these two Sulfidors, go directly into our Cyber Dragon Infinity with Nova and then into Infinity. We'll next go ahead and activate Inclusion, banishing it to summon the Tristros out. Then we'll go ahead and activate Regulus, summoning it. Well, we'll hold off on that actually, because there's a fun thing that we can do here. Because if our opponent activates a monster effect, we can utilize the effect to quick synchro from our deck. In this case, what we can do, make sure I get my actual zones lined up here. Regulus is not in the grave. So, we've already went through most of our recovery, right? Well, we're going to activate Infinity Effect to try and eat something. If they try to activate an effect in response, we'll go ahead and activate Tristros to let us synchro from deck using a monster from deck, Crystron monster from deck, and it So we'll use Sulfidor, sync with these two into Askeltis. And then Askeltis lets us add back a monster, spell, or trap that's in our graveyard or banishment. We'll go ahead and add back the inclusion. And then we'll activate Tristros effect to pop Askeltis, and then Askeltis will let us summon from our banishment. Then I believe it has to be exactly 2. Yep. So if you do not have 2 monsters in your deck, you cannot activate Tristros effect. But since we have specifically the Smiger and the Tristeros, we can then still utilize this effect to allow us to go ahead and summon from our grave a Sulfidor, or Sulfefnir, excuse me. Then what can we do from here? Since we've already, Cleafort Genius saw 2 summoned at the same time, we'll go ahead and add us a machine monster. We'll go ahead and add the Scrap Recycler. So this is where the fun part really comes in, where you can go into Platinum Gadget if you want to. Or excuse me, it has to be a level 5 or higher machine, in which we do not have at this time. But when the new Canine monster comes out, you can search that. But we do not have a search off of Cleafort Genius since we already have the Therian Regulus in hand. Do note that that was a misplay. I am sorry about that. But when the new K9 monster comes out, if you do not already have it in hand, you can activate this effect to add the level 5 or higher machine monster from your deck to your hand, so you can add the new K9 card. Well, from here, what we could do, if we really wanted to, since we can't make any more rank 5s and we're machine locked, we can either synchro into our FA Don Dragster, which is probably our best bet, as it will be a 2100 attacker. It also gives us a negate of a spell or trap once per turn. And then we'll go ahead and summon the Regulus, equipping the Askeltis, because it's popped by card effect. It can then allow us to revive another Crystron card, monster specifically. So we have Inclusion plus Sulfefnir, K9 Force X released, K9, a case for K9, and a Crystron cluster. So what do we really accomplish here? Well, we've eaten a monster. We still have a monster negate. We have a spell trap negate. We have a Omni negate. We have a 2000 attacker and an 1800 attacker. Plus, we have the capabilities of recycling back in more cards with cluster while popping 2 cards and being able to turn our Ripper into a werewolf to further either banish a card in their graveyard and field during our turn, or during our opponent's turn, we could banish 1 card from their hand until the face up until the end phase. So we have a lot of capabilities of further breaking their board and really beating in for a lot more damage, as this is already at 1, 2, 3. So by default, it's already 27. So if you get to eat the other monster effect, or the other monster that's activating its effect, you get it up to 29. If not, you're down to 25 if you're trying to negate during that interaction. And then Ripper is basically a 2300 beater, but you can quick effect go into this if you've already done it, or already activate the effect to negate, and go directly into Werewolf, banish 2 cards, further beat in for more damage, which makes it a 3300 beater, which can be a lot more deadly for your opponent. Overall, this is still a really good hand. And also, one other thing I forgot to mention is, since you activated Force Released, you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls, so you get to further pop another card. So, overall, just from that hand, you were able to establish a full board of monsters and beat in for a lot of damage, if not already OTK them, by popping their cards, banishing them, destroying them, and setting up several interactions and negates. This deck has the capability of further popping off and improving, especially when the new K9 monster drops here in a couple weeks. Or, when you guys are seeing this video, has already dropped. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this content, and if you did, please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I do try to read everybody's comments as they come in, so If you guys do leave a comment, I greatly do appreciate that. Anyways, guys, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Is it okay if I'm to say I'm catching feelings from all the dealings? Am I astray? What do you say? How are you feeling? Is it the same?